Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of The Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say, he's quite handsome and brilliant. Ease me, see, that's a joke. If you're an IT leader or business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, still giving away a free flamethrower with every IT purchase with Picatinny rail adapter, so you can mount it to any standard AR-15 like all awesome accessories can be. Go to toppingtechnologies.com and click the flamethrower button at the top to learn more and see me shooting a flamethrower. And lastly, trying to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have Nissan giving dealerships a new incentive, and it is 100% sales. Nothing else matters. No other metrics, which Nissan needs, but may hurt them long run. Now, this is brought to us thanks to Motor1.com, and rare thing for the automotive part, I don't have to give you a visual disclaimer because they actually show the one Nissan they make that looks good. The bar is low, yes, but they do have a nice picture of the Z on this article. And it's credited to again, Motor1.com, specifically Jeff Perez, who's a writer over there. And they say, quote, Nissan's bold new strategy, sell more cars. Nissan has introduced a new dealer incentive program aimed at getting vehicles out the door. And here you can see the one Nissan, I would argue, worth owning, modern Nissan. The new, well, not new anymore, the Nissan Z, or the 400Z, depending on who you're talking to, which it's sad to think that it is the only car sold in North America new that has a V6 twin turbo with a stick shift. That's how far the culture and decay has, the US is on the wrong track. It's so sad, automotive speaking. This is the one that's left. And it's one of the few options that you can get this car, the good old parking brake, you can just yank the handle on. You have to use one of those pain in the rear switches and electronic mechanisms that don't work and are just terrible. And again, that's what the enthusiasts want. It does actually keep costs down. I would argue, no, not high volume sales, I know that, but this is probably one of the best things Nissan has made in years. Yes, the bar is low, and yeah, you want to get this a manual transmission, not just for fun, but I don't think anyone on the planet trusts a Nissan CRT or CRV Banana Falcon. I know it's kidding, it's a CVT transmission, because they're basically grenades that are inevitably going to break. But as I dive into the article, they say, quote, Nissan's recent struggles are no secret, but over the last months, the Japanese automaker has attempted to right the ship with a flurry of incentive programs aimed at moving new product. The latest offering is no exception. According to Automotive News, Nissan will ditch the 20 performance-based metrics that the company currently uses to measure dealer success and focus exclusively on new car sales. This means dealers have more incentive than ever to sell you a new Nissan, even at a potential loss. Now, this is from sales boss of U.S. marketing, Vijay Shanghai. He said, quote, what matters most is achieving better sales, more Nissans in customer driveways. Which, that's true. It's one of the few articles I actually look forward to scrolling because you have a few extra pictures of the Z, which kind of looks good, those dual stripes. Only certain cars can pull that off. Of all time, probably the Ford GT, the real one from 2004, 2005, and I'd argue Dodge Viper, of course. Now, they say the new program is dubbed Nissan One, which makes sense, is one metric. It will give dealers $350 for each new vehicle sold if they achieve 90% of their sales target. Dealerships that reach 100% target will get $600 per car, while the overachievers reaching 110% will get $1,200 for each car, which is insanely good. When I used to work in the automotive industry over a decade ago, we used to joke that cars are crap because you don't make money on them. You would make money on crossovers, SUVs, and trucks. That's where the gross margin was so big. We jokingly called it was gross and gross because, the financial term and, it's gross how much money you can make. We're talking $9,000, $10,000. However, on subcompact cars, you would lose money. The GM, which I liked it because it had a stick shift and a turbo, but the, little Chevy Cruze Eco, I love that thing, but a dealership would lose about $480 on those things. You only made money if you did financing, accessories, and upselling. That's the downside of price competitive, entry-level vehicles is there's not a lot of money in them. So GM, to offset that, would say in sales rep, I think it's at the time a $150 gift card or something like that, to help incentivize sales reps to actually move those, less profitable vehicles. $1,200 per car. Now that's on top of the gross profit you make on the vehicle as well. That is one of the best financial incentives I've seen in the automotive world in probably a decade. It's that good. Now, I also do wonder if Nissan, the Nissan company, not the dealerships, if the Nissan company will lose money at that price point. Now, they say every new Nissan will afford dealers the same amount, On the Aria, won't deliver as much. Sorry. Every new dealers, Nissan will afford dealers the same amount. So an Aria won't deliver much more cash than a Kicks, which is a terrible name for a car. And retailers will be allowed to spend that money however they wish. So in theory, if I were a GM or general manager of the dealership, I would give an overwhelming percentage of that to the sales representatives to further increase the incentive for them to do this more and more. Now, they say that the downside is that Nissan will divert spending from programs to focus on one thing like customer satisfaction to focus exclusively on Nissan One. Now, that is the downside of this new incentive program long term, I think. Now, you also have, again, this is Steve Milete, who is Nissan's vice president of dealer networks, saying, quote, "We're significantly increasing the margin opportunity. It will help retailers align 100% with where the OEM is going because that's where the maximum opportunity is," unquote. They say that Nissan hopes to achieve a 5.6% retail share in the US by the end of the calendar year with a new bonus program. Nissan One officially will kick off June 3rd, 2025, which means next month might be a great time to get that Z you've always been dreaming of. Though, with current interest rates, I'm thinking, hell no, because that's, I find paying a 7% interest rate abhorrent. Although, who knows, maybe if I land something like, maybe if my tech company lands something like Texas Instruments this year, I'll be able to put a down payment for a house, who knows. But, and that Z just looks so good in that picture. If you're not watching on Rumble or the YouTube, you're missing out on the rear of the Nissan Z, which, again, it's growing on me more and more. People criticize it because there's a lot of part sharing between the predecessor, the 370Z. Even then, the 350Z, there's a lot of very, very similar and familiar buttons in there. But again, the fact that they still make a sports car in this economy where, again, sports cars are losing market share, people are buying different vehicles more and more. It's just one of those things where I'm actually surprised they can still do it. And I appreciate the fact that they do this for enthusiasts. I love that. More options, the better. Now, the issue is pretty much every one of their competitors, and you probably get these fun little, well, not fun, that's sarcasm. You get these little reviews every time you get your oil changed or go to the dealership. They'll ask you, they'll give you the survey. And maybe your representative will beg to you and say, "Hey, please, my bonus is, it's a big financial incentive for me to do good on this." And if it's good rep, I usually give them a better score than maybe they deserve in terms of, not your rep, but the dealership themselves not doing the best. But I digress. Now, the issue with this long term is that you're shifting the focus away from customer service and long-term ROI, I would argue, for short-term success, which admittedly Nissan kind of needs because they're bleeding money left and right. And they just failed to try to merge with Honda, which, because Honda would have no upside to doing that anyway. But they're struggling, losing market share, not adapting well to the new customer demands. And the reliability, I think, is one of the biggest Achilles heel of the whole brand. Nissan Altima, which is such a parody that they have BAE Energy pages on the Facebook, which are very entertaining. That thing crippled their reputation for over a decade plus because that bad transmission just grenaded itself. As if you needed yet another reason to buy a stick shift, or also known as manual transmission. So I think this will do great in the next fiscal quarters. It'll boost their sales because, again, this is a ridiculously great incentive program. And again, if you're in the automotive community, I'd be especially interested in your feedback in the comment section. But again, I think this will actually hurt them long term as these dealerships are shifting. Some might argue what little attention they have on long-term relationships with clients for short-term success. And it's very hard to keep that balance, especially when now the parent company is telling you all about sales. So I think it'll help them short term, but again, I think long term this is going to hurt them. But let me know in the comments because, as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, try to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so you can click that button. I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or a comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.